Hey adventurers, so today is going to be another book review. This is for Tales from Earthsea by Ursula K. Guin. This Tales of Earthsea is the 5th book in the Earthsea cycle, and I'll get more into that in a little bit. But this is another one that's about fantasy, it's about dragons, and this book specifically, book 5, is a short story collection. It's a whole bunch of shorter stories, novellas if you want to call them that. They're not, most of them aren't novellas, most of them are short stories that help flesh out the world in a way that makes Book 6 understandable. You could read Book 6 without reading Book 5 and understand it all, but you understand more of the world in the way that things are happening and why they're happening if you read Book 5. So before I get into the main body of this review here, just like to quickly say if you're liking what you're seeing from an Erudite adventure, we'd really appreciate it if you would like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Alright. Tales of Earthsea is the 5th book of the Earthsea cycle, like I mentioned, and though not specifically set chronologically after Book 4 or before Book 6 even, that is the right place to set it in this Book 5 slot. Not only because that is where it was written to be, that's where Ursula K. Guin wrote it, she wrote it in between Book 4 and Book 6, but she also wrote it to be in between Book 4 and Book 6, or be read in between Book 4 and Book 6, but also because of how it influences our understanding of Book 6. It's a collection of several short stories set in the world of Earthsea, but set at different times in the history of the world. Most of the stories, take place before the events of A Wizard of Earthsea, which is Book 1, but there are, I think it's 2, that take place during the events of the series. One of them is, I think it's before, let me see. I think it's after Book 2 is when one of them set, and then one is set right around the time of Book 4. Almost at the exact same time of Book 4. I think it's something like that, somewhere right around that time frame. There might be a third one that's set at that same time period, or set during the events of the main series, but I don't remember. That's not important though. But those 2 that are set during the events are specifically extremely important to understanding the series as a whole, as are the other stories, yes, but those 2 especially, because they are the events that take place in them affect what's going on in the main series. As always, Le Guin's writing is amazing. She tells great, interesting stories with a style of prose that is both beautiful but not excessive. This book fills out the world and the magic and gives us a better understanding of everything, including and especially dragons. I don't have really a ton to say about this book because, well, it's a 5th book in the series, and it's also a collection of short stories, so I can't really just break down what the story is about and talk about all that, because there's not a through line through the story other than this is Earthsea like we haven't seen it before. Just because I don't have a lot to say about this specific book doesn't mean that it's not worth reading. The series is wonderful, I just can't really recommend reading just Book 5 without recommending the whole series up to this point, and I do. It's well worth the time it takes to read. The series they're not terribly long books. I don't have them physically, so I don't know about how long they take to, or how many pages they have, but I do know that they're each about 12-hour audiobooks, which if you listen to them on double speed like I usually do, that's about 6 hours of listening. So 12-hour audiobooks isn't really that long, especially in comparison to most of the fantasy novels written today. Most of them are between 12 and 24 hours audiobooks, so yeah. I do quite like the audiobooks for the series as well. I've listened to all of them on audiobook because, again, I don't have them physically. The narrator for this one is Jenny Sterlin, who did read Book 4, which was Tahanu. She narrated Tahanu as well. And then when I first started listening to Book 4 with her narrating it, I didn't quite like it. I thought that her voice didn't fit the world. As you continue through the book, you get used to her voice, but you also realize that it actually fits the book incredibly well. And in Book 5, you're so used to it that you almost can't imagine a different voice narrating it. It's a weird phenomenon, I guess, in this series where it starts out being narrated by Rob Ingalls, I think, and ends, Book 6 is also narrated by Rob Ingalls, but Book 4 and 5 are narrated by Jenny Sterlin. And that's just an interesting choice to do. It's understandable why. It fits the characters that are the main characters of the books, but it having that drastic change of narration style is very interesting, and it works once you've listened to the entire series as a whole and to the entire books. But I didn't love Jenny Sterling's narration at the beginning, but by the end of book 4 I was like, yeah, she fits the world and this specific story very, very well. Overall, this is just a great book and a great series as a whole, and I do recommend the series, but it's hard for me to recommend just book 5 without having any other basis of knowledge for the world or anything like that. But it's a great book. So that was my review for Tales of Earthsea by Ursula K. Guin. Thank you guys for watching an Erudite adventure. We post videos every Monday and Thursday. I have our social medias linked in the description down below. We will see you guys again soon. Stay warm.